check. Yeah, that works. Good to see you all this lovely evening. We joined at a very fortunate time because in 11 hours and 20 minutes, Advent of Code will start. So thank you, Rafael, for setting up this meetup at a perfect time. So yeah, get set for Advent of Code. Tomorrow it's going to be. So please raise your hand if you have participated in Advent of Code in the past. Good, it's what I expected. It's like a very popular event. Many people know it. It's, who achieved over 10 stars? So that's like solving 5 of the puzzles, 2 parts. Over 20 stars? It's about maybe 5-7 people. That's already a lot because at some point these puzzles get so hard. Anyone over 30? Nice. Anyone 40? 50? Ah, it's so cool. I was wondering, will there be someone that has all the stars? I think that's quite an achievement. And of course also possible who just hasn't heard of Advent of Code before. Okay? I'm gonna quickly bring you up to speed. So you just saw the website. It's pretty clear that they target developers because it looks like it came straight from the Matrix. But here, for every year, it's an Advent calendar. And normally with the Advent calendar, every day you get a piece of chocolate. Every day leading to Christmas. But here we actually get a Christmas puzzle for every day leading to Christmas. And they are really fun. So they're really creative. Eric Wassel is his name, and his team, they create very smart and intricate puzzles that are also very well scoped, so that you can solve them, you can have fun with them, you can write them in Kotlin, and there's a little team to it. It's pretty cute, and worldwide, thousands of developers join. And so there's a global leaderboard where it's actually people actually compete to be the fastest. But most people, they just join for fun. Maybe try out a new programming language, try some new concepts within a programming language. It's all possible here, so I wanted to give some attention to it. And who's already thinking of participating from tomorrow? Yeah, nice. It's so nice. So I hope at the end everyone will be excited to join. I have a fun little video because last year on the day 1, the person that actually got ranked first on the first part of the puzzle, but also on the second part of the puzzle, he recorded himself, so we can actually see how fast he was to solve the puzzle. Who would like to guess how much time it took him to solve the first part of the puzzle? So it means clicking the page, seeing all the text, what you need to do, understanding the puzzle, coding it, putting in the data, copy-pasting the data, solving the algorithm, then copying the answer back into the page, and doing that. So how much time did it take him to solve it? 10 seconds. It's a bit more, so it's it is all right. It's less than 2 minutes. Very, very close. It took him 29 seconds to solve the first part. So it might sound like you still have quite some time, but let us look together at him how he did it. I'm not sure if there's sound, but maybe it's not. Oh, yeah, no, there's no sound. It comes from my speaker. So he's now looking at the puzzle, just reading what he doesn't know yet what he needs to do. So he's quickly reading it, he understands now, he's grabbing his data, he goes to his program, right inside the browser, parsing the data, splitting all these elements, and just putting all the magic as quickly as he can.
Sure it was not ChatGPT?
Yeah, might be. ChatGPT is tiring earlier. And so this was 29 seconds, and this is now the second part, so he's continuing. And in total, it took now 53 seconds to solve both parts. So this is the answer to the second part. he's like too enthusiastic, so he misclicks, cost him 1 or 2 seconds, and he's now ranked first. So the best part, it takes him like 53 seconds to solve it, and the rest of the video is him just in disbelief. It was like, holy shit, I can't imagine, oh I won. No. Oh my god. Okay, so this talk consists of 3 parts. There's some part like how I came to the idea to do a talk about that kind of code. And I learned some lessons from like walking through these things, and it's a bit like how it came to be. One of the lessons I really learned was how to use context receivers. I always found them a very difficult subject. So if anyone else is finding it a difficult subject to grasp, I will explain it a bit. And then also, from tomorrow we start, and actually Kotlin and JetBrains, they are sponsors of Advent Code. And they prepared like a template and resource you can use to get started, and you can actually win some prizes. Like, I won't keep you in suspense, they don't tell you yet what the prizes are, but they give you the rules of how to participate, and then you can win some prizes. So yeah, Advent Code is a very fun way to learn something. Because these problems are so scoped, you can really try a lot of different things. It's a very effective place to learn, because there's always like good algorithms, good effective ways to code to it. You're very free to experiment. One of the nice things is that you don't have to ship this code to production. So just make a little bit of a mess, like try something out, like write the most opinionated code you can ever write, and I did for this part, and I did it maybe like 3 months ago, and now I reread it, and I really didn't understand it anymore. So like it wasn't the code I would write to normally for an application, but for this it's perfect. And yeah, you can go totally wild with extension functions, some infix functions, write it exactly how you want. And so yeah, that's what I did. So in essence, the Advent of Code part is like 3 parts. You get the data, you just saw it from that first guy, there's like a file of all the data. You need to parse it in a certain way, so that's the first part. Then there's the first problem. You kind of have your parsed data as the input, and you get like an answer from it that you later send to the website. And then the second part is kind of the same. So, but you find out that some of the answers are way too big to fit in the integer, so it's useful to like make it numbers, and long will also fit it. Then if you start like solving a lot of these day puzzles, it's kind of nice to bring some structure to it. So I wanted to have like a way to validate that my algorithm is correct. So with every day you also get an example of, they will tell like, oh, with this data you should get to this answer. So within my day template I also made a thing to already solve it with the example, so that I can validate that it will get to the right answer, and only then execute the actual algorithm. And then with the actual inputs, get the answer. You already see that it's a bit strange code, because this is not how I would normally write. There's this then function, which is an infix function. There's a validate function, which is an infix. But the biggest monster is yet to come. And I had like 2 scenarios where I kind of wanted to be notified where it's not implemented, and then when the algorithm is incorrect. So I was able to really quickly see like, oh, I need to fix this algorithm, it's not the correct answer. But pay attention to this answer function and the then, because to make this like this, I had to do some really strange logic in the background, because I just wanted to get like a beautiful template. I just wanted to, which kind of looks like you're English, I think it can still improve, but it's okay because it looks kind of fun. But to achieve this, I created this monstrosity of a function. It's this. So it kind of has everything. It has like it has a context receiver. It is an extension function, but somehow it extends a lambda, which I didn't know was possible, but it's cool that that is possible. It really shows that lambdas are just data in Kotlin. It queries a function, so this means that you don't return like data like an integer or a float. You can actually return functions. And this was the first time I found this actually useful. I knew of the concept, but here it was actually useful because the result was available in a different place as that lambda. And then it returns the answer at a later stage. So at first I wanted to like explain every part of this function and how it came to be, how it evolved. But I think it's way more interesting to just go wild in your own repositories. And I think organically you will get to these like strange messes of functions. But specifically, I did want to take some time to explain the context receivers, because this was actually something that I didn't really properly understand before. And I'm curious. Yeah, so three things I actually learned from doing a lot of Advent code for myself. I got really confident in using context receivers. I know I would be fine using them in production right now. I learned you can extend lambdas. It's super useless, but it's pretty cool also. And the querying concept applies for the first time. So who, like me, finds actually context receivers a bit of a hard thing to understand? Like, wouldn't be confident yet to use them in production. Okay, good. Are there people that actually use them already in production or have them in their project? Nice. Because I think we all should. It's a great feature. I'll give a bit of an explanation of how I came to now understand context receivers, and I'm really hoping that it will help some of you as well to understand it better. So say we have a little glass. It's fillable with some content, like water or beer, and it's in milliliters. This is a type alias for integer, but it looks nicer. We can extend this function, so we just now pour some water in it. But say we now actually need to not directly put milliliters in it, but we need to depend on some faucet or like some tap that will put the water in there. So this is just the regular example, and here we now have a faucet, which if we open it, will give us 200 milliliters. And just for convenience of the demo, let's say it's like one of those taps where like you press it and it gives like an exact amount of water, because I didn't want to implement opening and closing a faucet. So it just always gives 200 milliliters. Now, if we fill it, we can just pass along the faucet. But it's a bit of a weird thing, because we especially see it in the next slide. Because right now, we call on glass, we call fill, and we give the faucet. So we're kind of filling the faucet. Like how we read it now, it makes no sense. It would make more sense maybe to call it on the faucet and say fill glass. That's definitely an option. Or like call the method fill with faucet. Or these are all options, but today I want to explore the context receiver option, which is also available to us. So we see that they have a relation, the glass and the faucet, but they're not really dependent on each other. We kind of just want the faucet to be there in the context. Like it should be available, but it should not really be a parameter of the class. So here we see it with the context receiver. And now we have the function open available, even though we don't have to call faucet.open. It's kind of like the faucet has been added to the this or to the this context, because for the copy method we also don't have to say this.copy. We just know that the class has the copy method, and in this case the open is like faucet.open, but it's available in the context, which is why we don't have to call say like faucet.open, but it's just available. But if we, if we don't start using it, we actually see that we get an error. So it's right now it says like we're missing something. We don't have access to this faucet. And then here the faucet you also see it's an unused variable. So like right now they're not linked to each other. It's missing. This is where the with variable or the with function in Kotlin comes into place. This places something inside of like the this context, and doing this will make sure that the faucet is actually available, and we can use it in the fill method. So now it works again. I really like this. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. This is perfect.
I have a question about implementation of fill functions. So it has two receivers, one from the function which is class, and another from the context which is faucet.
Yeah.
How does the function know that copy should be from the class and not from the faucet? Because faucet probably also can.
So right now faucet is just a class and not a data class, so that's not a copy. I think it's a very cool question, and because if both have like the same method, so if both were to have an open method, it wouldn't work. So I'm curious if with open it would work, or sorry, with copy it would work. I think we might also get an error if faucet. No, I should have had no compile errors when I started this.
Maybe you need to use that method.
Yeah, you can put the receiver explicitly.
Yeah. Okay. So what does that mean? Sorry, the explicitly receiver? Like the you should say then.
Yeah. So if you have a conflict, you have to, in that case you have not to rely on implicit.
Yeah.
A receiver like in this particular context.
Yeah.
Find who is going to call faucet or class.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the answer to your question. You have to explicitly say it in that case. But it's one thing you bump into. But most of the times you have like methods that aren't on both things. It works most of the times, but in these cases you have to find a way to either rename the method maybe or find another way around. Any other questions? Yeah.
I still fail to see the benefit of just passing it as a parameter.
Yeah.
It seems much clearer to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so in some cases definitely is that case. And to be honest, under the hood it still passes that. So that's actually how it is implemented. But I starting to prefer this way. And to me, I also had the same feeling in the beginning. But that was also for me it was new. So it's hard to see like the one is known that will feel like more logical. But especially if you want to extend multiple classes. So we can always only extend one class. So if you want to extend multiple classes, this is where you can use extension functions. And some like business logic things, or like methods, there you want to just pass your data to process the function. And maybe you need like a file writer or something. Here, it doesn't look as nice to have those mixed. If you know what I mean. So you're like passing one user ID, one name, and then a file writer. So it's not like the same kind of scope. You just kind of need that thing to be in context to be able to call write file or log file with maybe a logger or something like this. So it's a bit they're definitely both possible. It's a bit of a code style thing for sure. Like with these cases, there's like one really good example of how to use it in the arrow function, arrow library. They do a lot of effects that they are able to do with context, and they're also able to do error handling in a very creative way to do context receivers. I definitely recommend to check those examples out. I just don't understand them fully yet. I still need to grasp that at some point. Yeah.
I have a good example for this.
Yeah.
So it also allows to write extension functions that are only available when there are two contexts present. Like you don't pollute your autocomplete if you're not in the right.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
I didn't know that.
Does the IDE know that you have a dependency on this context?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's actually really smart. This is actually a good bridge to the next part. Because you can even do function overloading in a way where you have like one context in one scenario and one context in another scenario. So here you see that we can have a fill function on the class without parameters that uses pour, which is like maybe the lemonade syrup, and it uses open from the faucet. So we can actually have different implementations where both are like a method without arguments. So method overloading works, and it will know which context you need when you call the function. Maybe this shows it. So it will, these are not the same fill function. It will grab the fill function it needs because it knows which context it uses. Does that make it a bit clearer? A bit? Okay. If you have maybe a question, I really like the question.
How does this work with the inheritance hierarchies? So if syrup was to inherit from
Yeah.
the faucet.
Yeah, then it doesn't work. You can't have, you will get the error like, maybe I'm not saying it correct, but I've bumped into this once, where there were two contexts, and then one is not allowed to have inheritance of the other. Yeah.
What if they have common ancestor?
So they will always have a common answer, and it's
Yeah.
like any. Yeah. So it will work in for that, but yeah, there was a scenario where I bumped into it where it didn't work, but yeah, usually it works. It's not a very clear answer, but like, yeah. So yeah, I actually think this is pretty interesting. So it's always hard to in the demo to have like a clear use case, but usually there's maybe libraries that we implement, where services where we don't have full control of like how to use it, and then we don't want to pollute our domain logic, for example, with those services. So in this sense, you can kind of decouple them and like just say like, I'm dependent. Yeah, you're still dependent. Yeah, I'm dependent on having this in my context, and then in this case, you can have it like this. And you can also have like multiple contexts. So you could even fit it and then have both of these implementations. There. This doesn't read as nicely, so it's just like with the faucet and with the lemonade syrup, we make it like this. I hope at some point the Kotlin library will also allow it like this, where you can have multiple arguments in the with function. Because I think this reads nicely again. I kind of like this. You can say like my main function depends on these dependencies. It works well for dependency injection, for example. And then you can have your logic inside the with. But this does not work yet. I hope at some point that will. This is currently how that would look. So the with is very important to understand with the context receivers. It's like when you call the function, you explicitly say with this dependency. Any more questions?
In your previous example,
Yeah.
when you call fill, it's filling with both the faucet and the syrup.
Yeah. Maybe I went to it a bit quickly, but now it's like a third implementation where the fill overload it calls the open on the faucet, and it calls the pour of the lemonade syrup.
Okay, got it.
So it's not magic that it will now do both. It's just a new function that will use both implementations.
Got it.
Yeah. If both had an open method, then they would conflict with each other. Yeah.
I would always first pour the syrup.
That's that is a good point. It is actually strange to do it like this. Yeah.
That is actual personal preference.
Yeah. Here, I guess you would have to steer it to get it in. That's a good point. Implementation detail, but important detail. Yeah, I hope this will come. So, context receivers is one of those examples where if you have some experience with it, but you're curious, but you're not quite sure, don't use it in production yet. Try to write some Advent of Code puzzles with it. So try it out. In general, I would say like some of the puzzles or some of the things that you struggle with yet, or like find a bit more difficult, take this time at Advent of Code to consciously try to use them in a puzzle. Because there's like many creative ways to solve the puzzles. And I think, I'm not quite sure about this, but last year JetBrains also joined in sponsoring Advent of Code. And I think they really look at like who solved it very creatively or did something cool, and that's the people they reward. So yeah, some resources. This link, t.ly/AOC Kotlin, is oh sorry, I'll leave it open. That link is like the JetBrains post, and they tell you all their nice things. So they have like a Git template that you can use to get started. The prices, on the right you see they host live streams every day. So starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. they will go through the solution with some. They always have like an interesting person, interesting programmer on the show. I watched them last year, and it's really fun to see. And they go through the solution, often their first solution, and then something they got to later. And they at least do it for the first 11 days, so maybe even more. Yeah. Then let's see. Yeah, and they have a Slack channel as well. Then this one is actually quite cool. Rafael made a community leaderboard. So we can actually join together. In Advent of Code, you can join as a community. You can kind of see how everyone is doing, how they able to, if they got some stars for the days, who's still like participating. So if you want, this is a really fun one to scan. And then everyone who would like to join from starting tomorrow, we can like kind of solve them all together. Let's see. I think I have a lot of loose enters in my. Oh yeah.
Oh.
And so is everyone there who wants to join? Oh, it's gone. Sorry. Because this is worse news. You have to fill this code. I didn't see a way to make a link to like fill it automatically. So I think this is the most manual labor we have done in a while as programmers. But if everyone is ready, I will call these characters and you can fill them all in. It's quite nice. Is everyone at the page where they can fill like a number? No, I don't think so. Okay, then you can see there. I think also I'll post the presentation probably and share it with Rafael, so you can always see it and see it later. It would be really fun if you would like to join. We'll keep it here for 30 seconds if someone wants to take it. there's actually like every year there's people that solve it in like extremely creative ways. There's like people that solve it in Excel. There's yeah, it's amazing. Then this guy, I'm a big fan of him. He actually solves the puzzles first, and then makes a little visual game to like visualize how the algorithm works. Definitely look up his repository. Yeah, if I have time later, I'll maybe there we can look at it together, because you can actually clone and just run the things. I've run a few of them, and they are beautiful, like depictions of how it works. Yeah, I should have prepared that, but I can show it later. Yeah, and then the prices. So they JetBrains sponsoring Advent Code, very cool. But they don't tell you what the prices are, but I think it's just fun to participate anyway. To be eligible for the prices, you have to solve at least 3 days in Kotlin of the Advent Code. You need to share your solution publicly, have your contact details available, so either email address or Twitter. And this is an interesting one. You can't use AI to solve the puzzles. This is a trend in general with Advent Code. So if you want to join the global leadership or leaderboard, so that's the top 100 developers worldwide. Good luck with that. But there you're also not allowed to use here. Yeah, it's I always use GitHub Copilot, so it will be the first time in a long time if I turn that off to join this. And then you can, on the repository, you can add the topic AOC 2023 in Kotlin, and then you're eligible for those places. So yeah, that's it. I hope everyone is excited to join. All the puzzles are super fun, cute, and I hope everyone joins on the community, because then we can really see like how we're all doing, support each other, and like join together. Yeah, question?
Yeah, when you mentioned the guy who solved some of the puzzles in Excel,
Yeah.
it reminded me of a competition where people had to come up with the most creative way to create the most complicated hello world.
The most complicated hello world.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was wondering if anyone here knows about it, because I wanted to remember some.
Do you know like what the most complicated was? Like how it was
No, I
solved?
don't remember, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious ways just to say hello world.
Amazing. It's contexts like these that really bring the most creativity. There was also once like the shortest chess algorithm or something. It was like, I don't know what it was, 8 kilobytes or 8 lines of code maybe. And then it was able to beat humans.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if I have like a minute
Yes, yes,
left?
just
Okay,
take
good.
your time.
Yeah, okay. Then I will actually open that that cool, let's see where I got it, thing from, oh, it's this one. So live Gradle build, let's go. And while that's going, I'll just first round off the presentation. This was the talk. Thank you.